up and then mask off after he brings the camera down. So just wait one more second.
Are we masking up also?
Yeah, why not?
We will show off our new black masks,
I think it's important to make sure that we show.
and then we'll
We
take
have
off later.
our plastic things up.
You don't have to. Yep.
All right, I'm not wearing one.
I'm just.
Kaz, no.
Because it's not gonna be.
Is your audio on?
We're just promoting our new masks, that's all, then we'll take them off.
What do they sell? Hillsborough on 'em? Nice.
Yeah.
We do. All right, if you want to pan down.
Yeah, show them. I don't have my Hillsborough mask. I gotta wash it first. I have to
You
stretch
take
it.
that off. We're gonna go ahead and
Just
mute.
try to breathe.
All right, everyone.
Stretch it.
Shh, guys, I'm gonna unmute. Okay. All right. Good evening and welcome to the committee meeting of June 23rd, 2020. Ms. Bark, please call the roll.
Committeeman Delcor. Committeewoman Holmes.
Here.
Committeewoman McCauley.
Here?
Deputy Mayor Lapani.
Here.
Mayor Thompson.
Here.
Administrator Ferrara.
Here.
Attorney Willard.
Here.
Attorney Bernstein.
I believe he's calling in, but I don't see him on the Zoom, or if he is, I don't see his name yet. So we'll hold off on that. Please join me in a salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be advised that in accordance with the Open Publics Meeting Act, notice of this meeting was made by the posting on the bulletin board at the Hillsborough Township Municipal Complex and on the Township website, notifying the officially designated newspapers that this meeting would take place at the Hillsborough Township Municipal Complex at 7:30 p.m. on June 9th, 2020. I'm sorry, June 23rd, 2020. Members of the public may participate in this public meeting via Zoom, which that link was sent out, and the various phone numbers which those links were numbers were sent out as well. First up this evening is the approval of the minutes. I don't believe we have any at this time, so we're going to move on to committee reports from liaisons. Before I turn it over to everyone, I just want to point out one thing. We do have an ordinance on the agenda tonight for final vote. That was ordinance 2020-16. I am going to ask my colleagues that we hold off on that until the July 14th meeting. So if anyone is listening at home for that, seeing a nod and consensus from all my colleagues, we are going to vote to hold that until the July 14th meeting without further notice. So we will take a formal action on that just to make that official that we're holding off. But again, I don't want anyone to have to stay on the line unnecessarily. So, Ms. Barak, do you have something?
Mayor, Attorney Bernstein has joined the meeting.
Okay, is he on?
I made him a panelist, so.
He's a panelist? Okay,
I
thank
made him
you.
one,
Thank you.
so if you want to hear him,
Perfect, okay. So just again, anyone 2020-16, we are going to be holding that one, but we'll do a formal action on that in a little bit. So first up, Committeeman Delcor is unable to be here tonight, so I'm going to turn it over to Committeewoman McCauley.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everybody. Just a couple of things for me tonight. A reminder that the third quarter estimated tax bills are in the process of being mailed. On this third quarter estimated tax bill, if you receive a Shop Hillsborough credit, you will see that reflected on this bill. So you'll be receiving them shortly. The clerk's office, just a reminder and quick update on a couple things. The primary, as we all know, will be held on July 7th, and the voting by mail for the primary is encouraged. And as I've stated before, all the registered Democratic voters will receive a Democratic mail-in ballot with prepaid postage, and all registered Republican voters will receive a Republican mail-in ballot with prepaid postage also. And all registered unaffiliated and inactive voters will receive a mail-in ballot application also with prepaid postage. There is a mail-in ballot drop box located here at the Township building in the hallway by the police department.
Committeewoman
So-
McCauley, I'm
Yes.
sorry, that got moved.
Oh, where
It
we
is
put it?
now in the front of the building.
Oh,
And
okay,
it's
so the main
accessible from the
entrance
outside,
by the
yes,
library? Okay.
and I apologize.
So, that's what she said. By the front of the building, when we come in, main entrance, there's a drop-off box there, so, and I guess I'm assuming that at that point, when people drop it off into the box, that you'll be delivering it to the county?
The County Board of Elections will be
They come in and
collecting
get it.
Yeah, it's a
Okay.
secured box, multiple locks.
Okay, great, thank you. So all vote by mail ballots in the drop box are must be returned to the Board of Election no later than 8 p.m. on Election Day, must be postmarked by Election Day. In-person voting will still be available, but it's via provisional ballot only. So unless the voter is visually impaired or otherwise certifies to a disability, which requires an accessible voting machine, there will be limited access to these voting machines. All other voters who are visiting a polling location will be required to vote on a provisional ballot. Additionally, there are only 3 polling locations. Just a reminder here that there are locations here at the municipal building, Mother Mary of God Church, and at Auten Road School. So just those 3 locations will host the machines. 1 machine each, Pam, probably?
Yes, each location will only have one
One
machine.
machine. So it would be difficult to, stand in line for a while, and provisionals take a few minutes for each person to fill out. So therefore, why the mail-in ballots are being encouraged. If you have any questions at all, you can go to the state website. It's https www.nj.gov/state/elections for more information if you are not clear on the directive. And that's really it for me this evening, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Committeewoman Holmes.
Thank you. It's just a reminder to let you know there's still time to complete your census. The census is important because it impacts future planning and funding for infrastructure, future employment, training, healthcare programs. So if you haven't filled that out, please do. To learn more about the impacts of the census or to complete it online, visit the website 2020census.gov. Take a few minutes and complete your census. Otherwise, I've heard they come knocking at your door. Recreation. Hillsborough Parks and Recreation will have in-person day camps this summer. Yay! It has been a long process over the past few months putting a program together that meets the required guidelines and requirements from the state of New Jersey. There will be 1 camp location, the Auten Road School, and it is open to ages 5 through 13 for a 6-week period from July 6th through August 14th. Visit the Township website for more details and registration information. And in addition, there will also be virtual camps such as basketball, tennis, soccer, and music academy. Continue to check the Parks and Recreation website and social media accounts for future release and dates and information. And I just want to say we've been all doing such a good job, and that's why we're being able to open up and we're not seeing any spikes. So I'm just really happy with everyone living in New Jersey right now. One other thing too, I just wanted to mention again that we have a lot of farms in Hillsborough and a lot of farm stands. So go to the Hillsborough Harvest, go to our website and find the web page and hit Hillsborough Harvest, and they'll have all the hours and which stands are open, and it's a great way to get very, very fresh food this time of year. So that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor LaPanny.
Thank you, Mayor. First off, from the building department, obviously it's summertime, and if your pool is capable of holding 24 inches of water, yes, you need a permit. Pools have specific requirements for their installation and for their barriers. These requirements are intended to provide protection against potential drowning and near drowning by restricting the access to the pool. Statistics show every year that more than 275 children under the age of 5 drown and over 4,000 seek medical treatment. The numbers are almost double for children 15 and under. So please, if you have a pool or you're planning on installing one, please make it safe and be code compliant. The engineering department, as we reported last time, would like to report that all the roads on the 2020 repaving program have been completed except for the Camp Lane project on Camp Lane Road, which was held off due to the proposed PSE&G gas line replacement taking place this fall. Camp Lane Road paving will take place after the completion of the PSE&G work. In addition to PSE&G, additionally, PSE&G informed the township that another gas line upgrades are needed on other township roads. These upgrades are mainly due to upcoming proposed widening of the Route 206, but PSE&G did not at this time inform the township until now. Portions of Triangle Road, South Triangle Road, and New Ammo Road are on the PSE&G list. PSE&G will be responsible to repave full or half width of these roads since they were repaved less than 5 years ago. And DPW, the Public Works is busy addressing a great deal of tree requests from our residents with numerous small plots on township open space bordering residential properties throughout the township. The demand for tree removal and pruning is high. The team is working through the requests as they come in. The Clean Community Grant Program is continued and as planned with its funding. We just received the official funding this week. Please visit the township website under the Public Works link to explore volunteer opportunities in the upcoming months as the COVID-19 public gathering restrictions are lifted. That's all I have officially, Mayor, and I'd like to have a point of privilege, if I may, just to make some comments strictly as a resident and a business owner in Hillsborough Township with regards to the COVID impact on small businesses in the state of New Jersey. But first I want to share some information that possibly we don't realize how much a small business play in the state of New Jersey. I pulled off the website from the Office of Advocacy by the United States Small Business Administration 2019 Small Business Profile. In the state of New Jersey, 99.6% of all businesses are considered small business in the state of New Jersey, which is a total of 884,049. 1.8 million are employed by such businesses. 49.8% of all employment in the state of New Jersey is by a small business. Firms with fewer than 100 people have the largest share of small business employment, just over 1 million people. So these are your small shops, your mom and pops. These aren't the big stores. These aren't even the what they quote unquote less than 200 employee businesses. As a second generation businessman, my father started our business in 1970. And you won't understand this unless you own a business. There's nothing more gratifying to the first day you open a store and it's your name on it. With that comes the responsibility that you know that you have lives and families dependent upon you and your business, people's education, people's livelihoods. You watch your employees' kids grow up. You watch weddings. You go to funerals. They become part of your extended family. I am concerned, and I have to speak out, that the way that the governor handled the opening of the businesses, especially the small businesses, with this phases was detrimental, and I will call it at best as unscientific as I can see. It makes no sense for me to be able to go to a large store, and I'm not going to name names, it's not their fault, food store or any other store, there's hundreds of people in that store, but I can't go into a small business in Hillsborough or anywhere else in this state that might have 4 or 5 people in it. For example, if you have a bike store, you can repair bikes, but you can't sell bikes. But if you go to a box store, you can go buy a bike there. You can't go to a jewelry store, though it's right next to a large food store in town that might have 2 or 3 people in it. The hurt that this governor put on small businesses, I hope the dedication of our small businesses will come back despite it. But I fear that we're going to lose a large portion of this employment and never come back. Your business is part of your life. It is part of your family. It is part of your legacy. And all these people are fighting to stay alive. And I hope that everyone will help these people get back on their feet. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I'm sure all of us want to see our small businesses bounce back as quick as possible. We know they're the ones that always support our Little League teams, our football teams, wrestling, dance teams, what have you. So the sooner we can get them back on their feet and open is very important, so thank you. A couple updates from me this evening. I will be brief. As many of you know, you've seen the executive orders that the stay-at-home order was lifted. Bigger outdoor gatherings can take place. Indoor dining will be starting at 25%. Outdoor dining is already taking place. I believe our playgrounds are going to be opening on July 2nd, I think is the last email exchange that I saw, so July 2nd will be that date. I encourage everyone to visit the New Jersey's website, which I believe is covid19-nj.us, but if you just Google COVID-19-NJ, it'll come up pretty quick. As far as the numbers today, we're at 399. However, we did lose another resident, which I believe brings up to 54 deaths here in Hillsborough Township. So I do wish that we all just take a moment, if you don't mind, for another one of our residents that were lost. Just a quick moment of silence for that. Thank you. I also want to congratulate the Hillsborough High School class of 2020. I was able to attend the virtual graduation. I'm sure like many of us did the other day. I know it was certainly not what any graduate or class of 2020 thought they were going to be encountering this year. My only words to them is that this will make you stronger than ever, and you will have stories to tell your entire life. I also want to thank our very own cameraman in here right now, Kaz. I know he's the one who helped edit that video, and it was great. And I know that had to be 1,000 cuts, if not more. If there's 600 kids, you probably had
Lots of tape on the floor.
5,000 cuts you had to make. So with all the teachers also saying very nice words. So thank you for that. I think it certainly made it very memorable that they'll be able to have that for a lifetime. As always, you can stay connected with us via the e-news and Twitter, TV29 and the Hillsborough YouTube channel, showcase our meetings and Hillsborough The Good Life episodes and Hillsborough alerts for traffic and emergency notifications. We have no proclamations tonight. As you recall, we added this meeting to accommodate one of the ordinances that we're going to be holding, so we didn't schedule anything for that. So, again, we are going to be holding ordinance 2020-16 until July 14th. Without any more notice, but at this time, we're going to do public comment on new business and matters not on the agenda. As you know, if you're on the line, we are using Zoom for the first time this evening. So if you would like to say anything right now on items not on the agenda, if you could use the raise hand volume, I am going to unmute you at that time. You are going to have to unmute yourself. And then after you're done, we'll remute you and we'll go from there. So I see 3 hands raised, so I will go in order that they came up. So I believe if you could state your full name and address for the record. I believe the first one is going to be Mr. Tom O'Donnell. So Tom, if you should be live now.
Yes, Mayor. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Tom O'Donnell, 33 Ann Street, part of Claremont Community. Matter not on today's agenda. I wanted to address, I was looking at the minutes. By the way, the minutes were not posted, or I should say the agenda was not posted for this meeting online in the link that was provided. So I did find the agenda for the planning board scheduled for Thursday. And according to that, it's looking at the Roycebrook special zoning. I have to assume that since that meeting can't be done in person, that it will be postponed until the meeting can be done in person and from our community, which is a lot of seniors to be present.
Hold on one second, because I just want to address one thing at a time. First was
Sure.
if the agenda is on there. We're just double checking that the agenda is published. I just want to make sure, if you could just bear with me. Okay, we're checking on that. Second, the governor, through the DCA, has provided guidance that meetings shall take place even via teleconference. So there's opportunity for people to participate via online or via the phone. I'm not sure if we're doing Zoom. I'm looking over. It's Zoom for
I believe so.
Thursday. I don't serve on the planning board, so I'm just trying to verify that. But it will be the same venue. There's also phone numbers that you can call in if you don't want to log in via Zoom. This one's not Zoom?
This Thursday is
Call.
the way it's been, yes.
Okay.
Phone in
so-
only.
Okay, Tom, so I just got confirmation that it's going to be via the regular AT&T bridge that we've been doing for that meeting. So if you don't have the information for that call-in, Tom, if you could email me, and I'll make sure we provide that over to you so you can distribute it out to all your neighbors.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, actually with 2 days' notice, I just looked on the agenda and found it myself. This is a very important meeting for our community. I like the fact that you're postponing decisions on matters until, your meetings at the township committee level are done in person. I'd like to see the same courtesy done at the planning board. We have a lot of seniors. They're not going to be able to dial in just knowing how they struggle with technology typically. And this, like, again, for Claremont community, this planning board zoning changes is critical to our quality of life.
Nope, duly noted. I am not the chairman of that board, so I can't make that decision for them. So I would encourage you to reach out to our planning department tomorrow morning, and you can make that official request to them. But I don't have the power to take something off of their agenda the way the MLUL is listed, so. But if you could reach out to our planning department tomorrow, Tom, you can certainly make that request to the chairman, which I think, which is similar to what happened here.
Yep, and I'm assuming that if we're not live with you guys on the 14th of July, that we will be postponed just like 2020 what is it, 060 postponed tonight? That one will be postponed as well?
I would not make that assumption. It's something that we would talk about, but I would not make that assumption. There was very specifics.
Many can strongly consider it, considering we have seniors that would like to have their voice heard, and they are concerned about COVID.
Oh,
They can phone in.
yep, duly noted, and that's why we're working on this live video that we have now to make it a little easier for everybody. But I certainly understand your comment, and I appreciate it.
Great. I don't know if it's a planning board question or for the township committee. Has the DEP looked at the Rochefort property, a new plan that's now gone residential? Because if I read correctly, the original wastewater management approval was contingent on the proposed project, which at that time was for a commercial property.
I'm going to defer over to our attorney, Mr. Bernstein. You're on the line. If you don't have that information, Tom, we can get that to you as soon as we can. But Mr. Bernstein, are you aware if that's been reviewed by DEP with the new concept plan that they put forward? Mr. Bernstein might be muted still. We can't hear you, Eric.
Mayor, I believe Mr. Maskey might be on the line as well.
Is he on? I don't see him to promote him. Tom, could you do me a favor and can you email me and I will get the answer to that question, or you can email our planner tomorrow, whatever's easier for you.
Will do. One last question. Obviously, I got more to be discussed on the 14th live. I know that there's a major component to the negotiations done with Toll Brothers where they're going to contribute to the affordable housing trust fund. Has the township tried to or investigated or considered them helping alleviate the burden on the homeowners, the remaining tax assessments for our sewers?
Not allowed.
Deferring over, I believe that was a discussion item at one point, but I'm not sure where that was at. Again, Mr. Bernstein, who's been leading our negotiations with them on affordable housing and other development matters, would have a better answer to that, and I'm just...
Okay.
Eric, are you...
And affordable housing, I think I read somewhere with COVID that affordable housing at the state level has kind of been put in a state of hold.
No, that is...
Wrong.
That is the exact opposite of the truth, unfortunately, Tom. I wish it was true.
It was moved to the top of the pile.
The governor deemed affordable housing as essential, which means that they were never allowed to be shut down. Their building continued the entire time. In fact, some could argue that it was being prioritized, but for different reasons.
Okay, so and to answer the question about alleviation of the tax assessment, send you an email on that as well.
Yeah, and I will have Mr. Bernstein respond to both.
I'm here. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now, Eric.
Let me deal with these one at a time.
Okay, please.
In terms of DEP, they will not look at issue until such time as an application from the planning board occurs subsequent to the zoning. So it'll be up to them, up to the applicant, to convince the Department of Environmental Protection as to wastewater management extension that they received several years ago. Applies to the matter of for purposes of the zoning check. That issue, in terms of DEP, as Your Honor indicated, everything affordable housing is not being placed on the back burner, it's being placed on the front burner for the governor's executive order, which frankly has been a construction again with certain social distance issues. In terms of the issue of some contribution to Claremont, it's my understanding that the residents in the neighborhood and the current owner property have been in negotiations. No idea what those are. It has nothing to do with the township or the town affordable housing.
Okay, so I'm the president of the Claremont community, and we never negotiated anything with them.
Well, then I can only tell you it's not an issue, but it's not an issue relative to the affordable housing or to Royce Brook's application for intervention in the matter.
I can certainly say, just to intervene, Tom, hold on, Tom, just to intervene, if you don't mind. I think, Eric, if perhaps we could link Tom as president and the applicant or potential applicant together, perhaps that is a discussion item those two can take up again if they haven't already, because now if we're being...
Yeah, and to kind of connect the dots, and I'll do this more in person, but just to kind of let you guys work, my mind is there's steps that need to happen. So they were approved to be on the wastewater management plan because they used, in my opinion, a loophole that was made opportune because the county did not lock down the plan. They submitted a project which was consistent with their current zoning, which was for a very large commercial property. They now are trying to do a residential property, but in order to get wastewater management plan approval, the property needs to be rezoned, and hence why the rezoning is on the docket for the planning board, correct?
The zoning is on the planning board for consideration of the planning board of an ordinance change related to a settlement between Royce Brook and the township related to its affordable housing offer.
Correct, but it's also, the planning board, the rezoning is necessary for the DEP to reconsider the property under a new zoning and a new proposed project, correct?
The zoning would have to be resubmitted to DEP by the applicant prior to an application before the planning board for consideration for approval down the road.
So them getting the plan, so my point is, it still has to all go blessed by the DEP, the same DEP that made the Royceburg community, the Claremont community fight 10 years to get on this plan.
Correct. Yes.
Just for everybody's identification, relative to this ordinance and every other one, what's going before the planning board Thursday, which right before the planning board, for example, for the for tonight, is for the planning board to review the application, review the zoning proposal, and determine whether or not it meets certain criteria. That's all the planning board is being asked to do, is to review the ordinance for compliance issues. It then comes back to the governing body, second reading and final adoption, which is currently scheduled for July 4th.
Great. Okay, thank you for the clarification. I hope they're going to consider all the documents that were put together to fit the Erickson project on this property, and that all of the concerns we have for the aquifer and the environment are being considered, and the water runoff.
They will be.
Okay. All right, is that, Tom, are you good? Because I'm going to mute you back up. Okay, all right, thank you, Tom. Again, send an email if you have any other questions. Okay, hold on one second. Disable talking. Okay. Anthony.
So Mayor, I just want to let Tom know, him and I have been working on this together for many years, that Mr. Unami wanted to reach out to the neighborhood, but at that time, it would be inappropriate in a court case. So Tom, I will put Mr. Unami in contact with you, because he definitely wants to be back in contact with the neighbors and work with you guys as you've been doing. But again, because it was tied up with affordable housing in the courts, I told him it was inappropriate at that time. So we will get that back on track for you.
Okay. All right. Next up, Mr. David Brook. You have to unmute yourself, David.
Thank you, Mayor. Can you hear me okay?
We can. Please state your name and address.
It's David Brook, 7 Winding Way, Hillsborough, New Jersey.
Thank you, David.
And hopefully there's no echo.
Sounds
I
good.
don't know, is there?
There's no echo on our end, David.
Thank you. There was an echo when I was listening just now to your prior person.
Yeah, the speakers are getting an echo, I'm hearing too.
Are they?
Just the speakers, yeah.
I just wanted to reiterate what the prior gentleman stated. There was no agenda published until about 10 minutes ago. So it would be helpful if those can be published before the meeting so that the public can have a sense of what is going on at the meetings. And I also wanted to thank
Mayor, if I,
Hold on, just, David, if you could just pause for 1 second, if you don't mind. I apologize to interrupt you. I just want to check on the agenda portion. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What was that, Pam?
the agenda was published. It was then, had to be regenerated because there was something that was added. And then in that time period is unfortunately when people might have been going on, but it has been
Okay.
up. It did go back up, but it had been published since Friday. And the entire packet was published at around 5 p.m. initially, and then was regenerated.
Okay. All right. So there was.
So I apologize if anybody clicked in that period where it wasn't there, but that's what had happened.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Bork. Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, David. I wanted to get your question answered there, or your comment.
No, thank you for the clarification.
Yep.
I wanted to thank you, Mayor, and the Township Committee for recognizing that using a platform like Zoom can really better serve the ability of the public to participate in the meetings. The value, I think, is that it's synchronous communication, and we all have that opportunity to be able to not have that delay, which became quite a challenge. In that vein, I wanted to question or ask the question as it relates to the meeting, the next meeting that's going to be held. My impression is that the public can actually physically attend to some limited numbers. And I wanted to find out if the Township Committee is going to establish that process to allow physical presence as well as continuing the Zoom capability and the phone capability for people who would not be attending.
So it's currently under discussion. We have conferring with our attorneys because as we know right now, it's building capacity, but it's with social distancing. So it's making sure that there's 6 feet circumference around everyone where you sit in our room. And when we add our professionals that are going to have to be here for there, it certainly dwindles the number of how many people can sit into our courtroom. So we're looking at it to see how we can do it. But then the secondary challenge is if I have 45 people who want to show up, do you have to RSVP in advance? Is it first come, first serve? So we are working through those challenges to make sure that we don't take away anyone's ability to be in person. However, I'm concerned that I have 30 people show up at the day of the meeting, and I'm going to have to turn away 20 of them because of the actual amount of people I can place in this room with a 6-foot circumference around them. So it's being discussed. It would be unfair to give you a definitive answer at this time until we can really map it out in the room, which we're doing. We literally were doing today and the other day. So it is under discussion. It's just how we can do it in a fair way too, because I don't want to have 30 people show up and then turn away 20 people. So do you RSVP? So we're working on it, but it's certainly part of our discussions.
I very much appreciate that. And the thought might be to allow people to rotate in and then out as one possibility. And I know when there have been other meetings, the committee's been able to set up a remote screen and sound so that people who would want to rotate in might have that opportunity so you don't have to turn people away possibly as one thought.
We're seeing how Zoom works, and again, this is the first time we're doing it. It seems to be working quite well. And again, the governor has made it very clear through DCA and the Lieutenant Governor Sheila Oliver, who runs DCA, that this is an acceptable platform, is to even use just teleconference. So I don't disagree. It's just that we just want to make sure residents are as safe as possible.
That's, I think, a very wise move. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, David. I am going to unmute mute your line now, okay?
Yes.
And we're gonna lower his hand. Okay. Next up, we have Janine Erickson. I'm gonna press unmute. So Janine, if you'd like to say something, please unmute your line.
Good evening, Mayor, Town Committee. I just wanted to take a moment to thank the Town Committee for the financially responsible budget that was presented at last Town Committee meeting. As a resident, I appreciate all the work that's done by the Town Committee. Propose a budget with a tax rate decrease for the third year in a row. As a county employee, I know that this is no easy task, so I just wanted to call in and just give you my thanks for, I know the amount of hard work it took to get that to happen, so much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you. Janine, could you just do me a favor and state your name and address for the record?
Sure, so sorry. Janine Erickson, 37 Murray Drive in Hillsborough.
Thank you. And just, I appreciate the comments. I know that myself and Committeewoman McCauley and our Administrator Anthony Ferreira and Nancy Conster, our CFO, we worked very diligently on that, so I do appreciate that. I did see a lot of questioning of whether or not it was just because of ratables, but if you go back and actually look at the budget, we're spending, I think it's about $170,000 less this year than we were last year. So there's no way to say that we haven't cut our budget. So I do appreciate the kind words. And Janine, I'm going to mute your line unless you have anything else to say.
No, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Okay, disable talking. Lower hand. Okay, next up is Mr. Bob, I believe it's Lawton. Bob, you have to unmute your line. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you fine.
If you could state your name and address for the record for us.
Robert Lawton, 12 Moore Road, Hillsborough.
Okay, thank you, Robert.
And also president of the Brentwood Hills Homeowners Association, just to be clear.
Okay.
Just a question, or actually an ask. I know right now you don't have an answer. But based on Mr. note that the PSE&G is going to be doing pipeline work on the Triangle Road area, and I'm just wondering what that really, I guess, related to at this point, and if it is back to do anything regarding the future Valley Road proposal ordinance that has been pushed out to July at this point.
I don't believe A has anything to do with B, but if you wouldn't mind emailing me, I can certainly put it over to our engineering and to administration. We could just double check if there is any relation, but I do not believe so.
Thanks.
No problem. All right, I'm going to go ahead and mute you now.
Mayor, basically, most of those upgrades are due to the widening of 206 and,
Okay.
and the needs to address the pipeline.
Okay, lower hand. And next up is, I believe it's Izzy Baker. Izzy, are you there? You have.
Good afternoon. Good evening. My name's Ken Baker, 452 Hillsborough, very close.
Could you, I'm sorry, Mr. Baker, could you just repeat your address again, because the phone cut out there?
Yes, it's 456 Farm Road.
Farm Road, okay. All right, thank you.
And I just wanted to comment on the process that you have with Zoom. I have addressed any of the other people that have asked for comment. The tremendous amount of in the line. Now you said you didn't, but I know for myself, it's like I haven't been able to anybody said. So just to somehow, just what you're doing, I mean, I really haven't
Okay. I've had a couple people reach out that they weren't hearing an echo, and we checked it a little bit earlier, but I will certainly ask our team to look into it just to ensure that there is no echo on the line as well. So I appreciate you making those comments.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, talking and lower hand. Okay, I don't see anyone else with comments not on the agenda. If anyone does, Greg Thompson, I just saw you raise your hand. I'm going to allow you to talk. Mr. Thompson, no relation, you spell your name much differently than me. No offense.
Greg Thompson, One Stoll Drive. Doug, your problem with the echo is you can't hear it, but we can, because your microphone is still on, and then the voice is coming back. Now that you turn your microphone off, or somebody else does that, echo will probably go away.
I just moved the microphone further away from the computer. Is that any better?
It improved.
Okay. All right. As you know, as I mentioned on here, this is our first one, so I do appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And I can't stress how much I do want to have everyone back in this building, and we return to a new sense of normal. So, but I do appreciate you mentioning that, and we'll see if that makes it a little bit better. So thank you, Greg.
Yes.
All right.
And last question.
Yeah, sure.
Farm road ordinance that you're saying opponency, the rezoning of Path Road. The ordinance on redistricting rezoning of Valley Road is. Got that
That's going to be held tonight.
tonight.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, no problem.
Did he say his address?
Okay.
Did he give his address? 'Cause I couldn't
Oh.
hear.
Yes, Stoll Road, number 1 Stoll.
Oh, okay.
I know it is.
Okay, all right. So any other comments from anyone else on the phone about matters not on the agenda? Seeing no more hands raised, we are going to move on to the introduction of a new ordinance. It's 2020-19. It's an ordinance accepting deed of dedication from the estate of Doris Eaton for a 0.607 acre portion of land located on Long Hill Road and identified on the Hillsborough tax map as a portion of block 174, lot 202. May I have a motion to introduce this ordinance?
So moved.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Committeewoman Holmes?
Yes.
Committeewoman McCauley?
Yes?
Deputy Mayor LaPani?
Yes.
Mayor Thompson?
Yes. Moving on to the public hearing as advertised of 2020-16, which is an ordinance amending Chapter 188, Land Use and Development, Articles 5, Districts and Standards, Section 188-113.4, GV Green Village District, Section 188-113.5, and Town Center District, and adding a new Section 188-113.8, Multifamily Inclusionary District 1, or MFID1. Further consideration of public hearing was to be held today. I am asking my colleagues that we defer this to July 14th without further notice. Mr. Willard, is that an appropriate, do I need a motion to say we're going to carry it till July 14th?
Yeah, let's have a motion, a second, and then roll call.
Okay, so can I have a motion to carry this to July 14th without further notice?
So moved.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Committeewoman Holmes?
Yes.
Committeewoman McCauley?
Yep.
Deputy Mayor LaPani?
Yes.
Mayor Thompson?
Yes. Okay, thank you. Hold on one second. All right, we're going to move on to resolutions at this time. Does anyone on the dais wish to take any items separately of the resolutions?
Nope.
Seeing none, may I have a motion to approve the resolutions?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Any comments from the dais?
I have one, Mayor. Item 13, this is a authorized waiving of application fees for a property that's going to be purchased by Somerset County to add to the open space up in the Sauerland Mountains. This is a no-cost participation purchase. The county is covering all the costs of that purchase. So in lieu of that, we granted a request to waive the nominal fees that would need to go in front of the planning board to get that done. And I want to thank the county for, again, helping us preserve some much-needed area up on the mountain.
Couldn't agree more. Also, I just want to mention in resolution number 2, I'll beat our administrator and our clerk to probably saying something about her, but we are extremely lucky to have Francine working here in Hillsborough Township. So it is an honor to give her permanent employee status because she has been an amazing addition to the township and also to the front office. So Not sure. I'm sure Administrator Ferrera would like to say a few words about her.
Well, thank you, Mayor. Yeah, we're very thrilled to have Francine as part of the team and making her permanent tonight. So I want to thank you ahead of time. She's done a fabulous job and provided great customer service and has fit in with the team very well. Thank you.
Great. Any other comments from the dais? Seeing none, if there's any comments online, if you could please raise your hand now. We'll just give it 1 second to make sure everyone has an opportunity. Okay, looks like there is no one online, so can we go ahead and move on with roll call?
Committeewoman Holmes?
Yes.
Committeewoman McCauley?
Yes?
Deputy Mayor Lapani?
Yes.
Mayor Thompson?
Yes. Moving on to claims list 2020-12, may I have a motion?
So move, Mayor?
Second.
Thank you. Any comments from the dais? Comments from the floor, if you could raise your hand, please. Seeing none, can we have a roll call?
Committeewoman Holmes?
Yes.
Committeewoman McCauley?
Yes?
Deputy Mayor Lapani?
Yes.
Mayor Thompson?
Yes. This concludes our regular meeting. However, we do have an executive session this evening. Ms. Barak, can you please read the executive resolution?
Whereas Section 80 of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231 of the Public Law of 1975 permits the exclusion of the public from a meeting in certain circumstances. Whereas the Township Committee is of the opinion that such circumstances exist, now therefore be resolved by the Township Committee, Township of Hillsborough, and the County of Somerset, State of New Jersey as follows. The public shall be excluded from the discussion of the hereinafter specified subject matter. Number 2, the general nature of the subject matter to be discussed is as follows: contract negotiations, PBA, and New Jersey American Water. Number 3, the Township Committee may take official action on those items discussed in the executive session upon the completion of the executive session. Number 4, the minutes of those discussions shall be made available to the public as soon as the matters under discussion are no longer confidential or sensitive in nature. Number 5, this resolution should take effect immediately.
Okay. May I have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Second?
Thank you both. Comments from the dais? Seeing none, any comments from the floor, please raise your hand. Seeing none online, roll call, please.
Committeewoman Holmes?
Yes.
Committeewoman McCauley?
Yes?
Deputy Mayor Lapani?
Yes.
Mayor Thompson?
Yes, again, this concludes our regular meeting. We're now in executive session. Thank you for attending our first Zoom meeting. We will work on the echo for the next one, but again, thank you everyone and have a good night.